Hi everyone, welcome back to my art channel. My name is Chris, and in today's video I am going to be experimenting with gouache. In one of my previous art hauls, I got a new set of gouache and I said I wanted to get better at it, and a lot of you were able to give me a lot of really nice tips. And to be honest, I just have to go for it. There was a comment that said that I just needed to put my fears aside, and that was actually true. So I decided to take it slow, and as you can see, I had already done the underpainting, and I was not going to film this, but then I decided to do it just because, like I said before, a lot of you gave me a lot of good tips. A couple of things before I start talking about this painting. So I am using a new sketchbook. It is by Art Creations. I have a sketchbook by the same brand. It's a little one, and I really like them. I think they are very affordable, and they have a lot of options, different sizes and different colors, and I really enjoy them. I'm going to be listing all the supplies that I'm using down below. Some of them are going to be from Amazon, and they are affiliate links, so it would I really appreciate it if you purchase something from Amazon. I'll get a small commission at no extra cost to you, and that is going to help me continue doing this channel. The second thing that I want to say is that, again, I am new to gouache, and I just wanted to do something simple, but there was not a lot of blending. That's why I chose to do this Ponyo illustration. And lastly, like always, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate if you become part of this little community that I'm trying to build here on YouTube. I cannot believe I have 300 subscribers. When I started my channel, I was so shy, and I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to build this community. I am so happy to all the people that have subscribed, that have given me tips, and that continue to watch my channel. So if you haven't already, please subscribe so you could keep seeing all the art content that I'm trying to do for you. So back to the illustration, I started by doing layers. So one of the things about gouache is that you really need to work on the consistency. Again, I started with a really light layer, very watered down consistency, and I was building there, doing layers, adding a little bit more opacity to the illustration. And as I mentioned before, I just wanted to do a painting that didn't require a lot of blending. I have tried blending before using gouache, and it was really hard. And I had tried to do skin tones, and it was really hard too. So I just wanted something simple, something that was just flat colors, and this was the perfect illustration to do so. I actually went to a Japanese bookstore in Japantown in San Francisco, and that's where I got this book. I also got a house moving castle, and I really love Studio Ghibli's movies, and I've seen a lot of artists here on YouTube and in many social media platforms that do studies from the Studio Ghibli's movies, and that inspired me to do this. I really love anime, animation, cartoons. I really like that style of very simple color palettes and not a lot of blending. So I thought that was perfect for me to practice doing wash and kind of try to get down the consistency. In one of my previous hauls, I showed you a set of wash by Daler Rowney. It is from their Aquafine line, and I believe the student grade. But I show you that set. It came with 6 colors, the basic colors, and I talked about how maybe using this wash was going to help me with my learning. I do have the Himi wash that is very popular still, and I kind of had a hard time using it. So I decided to buy this set. It is a very limited palette, and it was also a learning experience. I believe that as artists, we need to know about color theory, and I am very, how can I put it? I really like to do color mixing because you never know what type of colors you're going to get. I mean, you know that if you mix yellow and blue, you get green, etc. But sometimes when you experiment, you get really unique color mixes. But anyway, so I got the set and it had just all the basic colors. So I decided to do that and mix my own color palette. And I actually took the time before starting the painting process to mix all the colors that I was going to need. And that is something that I'm trying to do more often because I'm the kind of person that would just go for it and I would not really plan my color palette. I would do it as I go. But with watercolor, it's a little bit different because I'm so used to it that I could kind of that I don't really need to prepare my color palette. But with wash, it was easier for me to prepare the color palette before going in because I already had all the colors mixed. Sometimes if you don't mix enough color, it is really hard to replicate the same color later on. So like I mentioned, I had the color palette ready and I was really happy to mix my own colors. I was tempted to grab some other convenient colors that I already have, but I stopped myself because I really wanted to challenge myself. I also keep my watercolors and wash slash mixed media brushes separate. I don't like to mix them. I just want to keep watercolor for watercolor and the rest of my brushes for wash and mixed media. So because I don't really have that much experience with wash, it was also a learning experience to see which brushes I like most to use for wash. And I use a variety. I, for the most part, have a lot of Princeton brushes. They are one of my favorite brands. They have a variety of lines for different purposes. I own mostly watercolor and some mixed media brushes, and they have different lines that range from affordable to a little bit more expensive. For example, they have the Princeton Snap brushes that are really affordable, and in my opinion they work really well. And then they have the Heritage or the Neptune line that is a little bit more expensive, but they are also one of my favorites. Going back to the sketchbook, so it is a 90-pound paper. It is meant for sketch, pencil, charcoal, chalk, graphite, crayon, ink, and watercolor. It is an off-white paper, kind of like a cream color, and I really like it. Like I mentioned before, I have a small sketchbook, the same brand, Art Creation, and first of all, I really like the covers. They come in a lot of colors, and they're mostly pastel. So I have a pink, a yellow, and this purple cover, and it's really sturdy too, the cover. And the paper is not bad. I don't think I have really tried it for watercolor. I have done mostly Posca pen sketches, and like I mentioned, to be 90-pound, it really holds up to the Posca pens and the wash. I think that's why I also had a good time doing this illustration, because it is not 100% cotton, so it didn't really absorb the paint. It just kind of had this perfect balance of absorbing and also be able to withstand the wash and the layers that I did. I did use 2 water cups. As you know, wash is very opaque, so my water cups were getting dirty fast. So what I did, I have 1 water cup to kind of rinse my brushes, and then I had another one that was meant for clean water, so for me to just grab water if I needed to. That way I wasn't going to the sink and change the water cups are often. So I highly recommend you have 2 cups of water in order to, like I said, to have one for dirty water and then one for clean water. Another thing that I'm trying to work on is to actually use different size brushes depending on what I'm doing. So I'm kind of lazy, and one of the things that I do is I just try to use the same brush for everything, and that can be difficult when I'm doing little details. So I went through my brushes and I decided to get sizes that I thought were going to fit my needs, and I did that before starting the painting process, just so I could be prepared and not waste time looking through brushes. So I was able to get some smaller ones and some bigger ones depending on what I was going to be painting. So for the hair, I used a bigger brush. For the face, of course, a little bigger. And then, for the chopstick and the noodles, I went ahead and I used a little brush, and that made a huge difference. So I'm going to try to use different size brushes, and that is something that is going to probably take me a while to do, because like I said, I am so used to only using a couple brushes because I'm just lazy to change them. I think I mentioned in a previous video that I have a hard time doing backgrounds. Usually a lot of my paintings have just a very simple background with one color, and another reason why I decided to do this study is to practice backgrounds. I decided to use this image because the background is very simple. It's just a couch and a pillow, and you could see kind of like the wall behind it. That is something that I have seen a lot of artists here on YouTube and any other social media platform do, that they do studies to start practicing their backgrounds. And it was, like I said, another learning experience because I am not used to it, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to keep doing this to get better at my backgrounds and kind of have an idea of what I could do with my own original paintings. This illustration took me about 3 hours, and as you can see, the lighting changes because I started it the day before, and then today I woke up early to finish it because I needed to film and edit the video. So you could see how the light changes because I have a window here in my studio, but it doesn't have the best lighting. So in order for me to get the best natural light, I need to do it early in the morning. Otherwise, I do have natural lighting, but it's not as good. And I do have different, I decided to spend my money on some lighting just so I could have a better and a quality video for you. And I think it was a good investment getting the extra lighting because it does make a difference. In the illustration, I noticed that the couch had lines that looked like they were done with color pencils, so I decided to imitate that. I am not a pro at using color pencils, so I did my best. I just did the base layer of the couch. I only did that diluted layer, and like I said, I decided to go with the color pencils. I did use a Prismacolor color pencil and some Caran d'Ache Pablo color pencils, and based on my research, I think the Prismacolor are wax and the Pablo are oil based. So it was kind of interesting trying to layer them, and I was able to kind of get this smooth, kind of waxy feeling to the couch. But at the end, I really like how it turned out. I really like the texture. I also tried to blend the colors. So I did use a green and I used a yellow to kind of imitate that texture that I saw on the image. And I also decided to use it on the door. I I wanted to add a little bit more of that wood texture, so I decided the best way to do it was to use the color pencil. You also notice that the left page has swatches. So a lot of people like to do the front and back of their sketchbook to do their sketches and painting and illustrations. I really, honestly, I just like to use the front. So what I'm trying to do is use the left page to do swatches of the colors that I'm trying to use or to mix and to write notes. So I am trying to do notes of the colors and the brand that I use. That way, if I want to try to do the same color in the future, I have those notes and I have those swatches. And this is something that I'm going to do with my sketchbooks moving forward. I am going to have a lot of paint that is going to be left over from this illustration. So I think what I'm going to do is to do another image that has similar colors. The book has little scenes from the movie, so there's at least two other images from the same scene that I could do that have the same color palette, so I don't waste this paint. And it took me a while to get those colors, so I really don't want to waste them. The wash set did not come with the black, but I was able to mix my own black using the ultramarine blue and burnt umber. This is a color mixing technique that I learned in college from one of my professors. She did not allow us to use black. She wanted us to mix our own blacks to kind of make them more believable and for us to also practice color mixing. So that professor was really hard. She was her criticism was harsh, but I was able to learn a lot from her. The last step was to do the outline, and I decided to use a pen to do this. I really didn't want to use black wash because I wasn't sure how I wasn't sure how I would do that. The pen worked well, however, sometimes it would get clogged due to all the wash that will get stuck on the tip. So I had to occasionally remove the wash paint in order for the paint to work. Like I mentioned, this worked well for this illustration, but if you have any tips on how I could do the outline better, maybe you know of a art supply that I could use or a technique, I always end up messing the outlines. So like I mentioned, I try to do the, I guess, safest way to do so by using the pen. It did work, but then again, I had some issues. So if you could give me tips on how to do the outline, I would really appreciate it. Overall, I had a lot of fun doing this painting. I was able to learn a lot. and work on my consistency, work on details, do a little bit of mixed media. I also did a short that I'm going to link. It does have like little scenes of the sketchbook and the wash. If you want a review of the wash set, please let me know. Again, I'm not expert when it comes to wash, but I did think that the wash worked well for me as a beginner. And as you saw, I have my phone, so I was trying to record for my Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. I'm going to give the Himi wash another try, but if you have a wash brand that you would recommend to me, I would really appreciate it. I do have the Homai wash, but I think I also mentioned before that I am a little skeptical about using them because I do not want to waste them. Sometimes you buy art supplies that are artist grade and you're just too scared to use them, especially as a beginner. But I think the more I practice wash, the maybe I'll try to use the Holbein, because as you all know, Holbein is an excellent brand. I really love their products. I would also appreciate if you can recommend me what paper you like to use for wash. I do have Arches and other 100% cotton papers, but like I mentioned before, this sketchbook is not 100% cotton and I really like the paper. But if you have any other paper that you would recommend to me, I would like to give it a try. I am all done with the illustration and I am really happy about how it turned out. So if you like this, please give it a like, comment, give me tips, give me your criticism or anything that you would think would help me. And please subscribe if you haven't done so. I would really would want you to be part of this little community that I'm trying to build here on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'll see you next time.